in theaters now is the Bruce Springsteen, I'm hesitant to say biopic. It is biographical, but it is not his life story, film entitled Springsteen Deliver Me From Nowhere. This was really good. And I'm not even particularly a Springsteen fan. This is just a really good drama, a really good film about an artist, a film about Springsteen in one moment in time of his career that was a sort of a pivotal moment in his career for him. It was a moment I knew very little about. So I'm going to talk about this film in terms of somebody who is a casual appreciator of Springsteen. I know the hits, I know his history to a degree, like him overall. But I don't know the nitty gritty. I was not aware that there was an album entitled Nebraska really that much before I saw this film or most of the songs that are on it. The film stars Jeremy Allen White, which you would probably know from the Bear TV series, as Bruce Springsteen. This is set around 81, 82, I believe, while he is conceiving and recording the album that would become Nebraska. And it is mostly just this tale of this performer who is struggling with his place in the world and socially with the people around him and as an artist and in the marketplace, and how those around him lift him up and support him for various reasons to get through a rough period in his life and to see his artistic vision to fruition. Let's put it that way. So not being a major Springsteen fan and not being the kind of guy that would really do a whole lot of research before I record one of these things, I do not know how accurate this film is. From what I understand, it is relatively accurate. I do know that there is the character of a girlfriend in this film who's played very well by Odessa Young. I do believe I have read that that is a fictional character, which is always a bummer to me. It's always like they create a character like this to make a better drama, to create conflict, and to a lot of times just give the main character somebody to talk to and share his thoughts aloud with, when maybe in reality the person was alone most of the time. So it is a relatively small cast. You have some people you would recognize. Jeremy Strong is in this playing Springsteen's manager, I believe, and he's really good in this. He is really good in this as this very low-key guy who is, he has to do what he has to do for business, but at the same time, he is all about the artist. He is all about doing what Springsteen wants him to do. And there are these wonderful moments in the film. Basic story is this. Springsteen is a very successful artist. Born to Run was his last huge hit single, and the record company is pressuring him for another single. We need another Born to Run. We need another song that will play on the radio and make a lot of money. And Springsteen is not feeling that. He's feeling very depressed. He's very introspective. He's struggling with his aging parents and his memory of not a great childhood and a father who was an alcoholic and abusive to a degree with himself and his mother, and putting that into his music and watching Badlands one night on TV and getting inspired to write this really bleak, stripped back album about these Midwest serial killers from a decade or two earlier, and the vibes that movie gave him, and drawing from his youth and all that stuff. And the record company really wants something that's poppy and upbeat, and Springsteen doesn't want that. And he's telling John Landau, who's portrayed by Jeremy Strong, his manager, or basically, this is what I'm going to do. And the sequences where Strong has to tell David Krumholtz, who's excellent in this, as like a record company executive, well, this is what Springsteen's going to do. And he tells him exactly what a record company executive does not want to hear, in terms of he's not going to do any promotion. He doesn't want his face on the cover. He's not going to tour. And Krumholtz, it's just, they're very funny moments. And I mean, the movie has light moments and dark moments. It's overall rather serious and very, very moving and absorbing. But these moments where the artist meets up against commerce are just wonderful and kind of hilarious, totally played straight. There aren't too many faces. Not, like I said, not a huge cast. Stephen Graham, who you would very much know, plays Springsteen's father. He's a British actor who probably most people don't know is British, because he's always playing Americans, faux Americans, as I like to say in movies. He was really good in Boardwalk Empire and a lot of other things you would know. Paul Walter Hauser, a name you wouldn't know, but a face you absolutely do, is in this as sort of like one of the techs or roadies or assistants to Springsteen, and he's just wonderful. He is one of those guys like Dick Dick Miller was in his day, who makes everything better just by being in it. And some other, Gabby Hoffman is in it as Springsteen's mother. So a few people you would recognize. Mark Maron is in it. He's really good in a mostly nonverbal performance as a studio engineer or producer. And so the story basically goes with, as I said, it opens with Springsteen coming off a really huge show and going, I'm feeling something different. He rents a house out there in New Jersey on a lake. He's there alone for the most part with a small 4-track recorder, just recording these songs that are coming out of him due to his memories and his mindset. And it's those around him seeing that he's really struggling with depression and motivation and artistic muses, and trying to support that, but also at the same time trying to make sure he survives and carries on and can continue as an artist, doesn't get dropped from the record company and stuff like that. It's really a movie for music lovers. Again, I'll repeat often, I'm not a huge Springsteen fan. I don't know the Nebraska album. I only really kind of know the hits of his that were hits through my lifetime. But to see the creation of the music is fascinating, how it was recorded, to whatever degree there is accuracy in this film, and to see the places. I will say a good friend of mine took us on a tour of Asbury Park that I'd never been to before, and he really gave us, it was sort of like the off season, so it was a little chilly, pretty sparse, but he gave us like the Asbury Park Springsteen music history tour. So we went into the Stone Pony and got to get a little tour of that, and we got to see the big palatial building that's there, and what the remnants of what was there, and the boardwalk and all that, and all the famous spots and album cover spots and all that kind of stuff. And that was really cool to see. And the carousel building, where there isn't a carousel anymore, they recreated that for this film. And we visited there maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks, if that, after the film had ceased production in the area. So there were still props left up. So there is a scene in this movie where Springsteen is letting his girlfriend into where the carousel is after hours, and he's opening a side door, and on the wall you see flyers for like local bands and local clubs. Those flyers were still there. I have a photo. It's almost the same framing as the movie. I have a photo of those flyers that were created for the movie that were just left behind and still there. So I really enjoyed this film. I was able to see this in IMAX. Does it gain from seeing it in IMAX or Dolby? Visually, I don't know. I think every movie is better on the biggest screen you can see it in. It lets you see the performance subtleties better, lets you see the detail in the frame better. It's more absorbing and immersive that way. The big advantage of IMAX and Dolby is that the music sounds really good. So if you can see this as I record this, you'll be watching this on streaming, but if you can see this in a theater and see it somewhere where it is big and the sound is really good, it carries the weight that much more. And it does its job commercially too, of this film is over and I'm like, I need to hear this Nebraska album. I've been watching a movie for 2 hours about this Nebraska album. I got to hear this now. And there is apparently a new version of this, like a box set of this, that has the version that was originally released, but all kinds of stuff in the vault that was thought not to have even existed anymore. Like in the film you see, I'm not going to give much away about this, but in the film you see Springsteen, doing all the demos at home, really wanting the stripped back sound, getting the guys in the band together and going into the studio in the CITY to record full band versions, and just thinking, this is too much, this doesn't work, this isn't good. And all those full band versions apparently are on this new Nebraska box set. Not that I'm shilling that. I haven't listened to it myself yet, but again, even not as a Springsteen fan, this movie makes me want to go and listen to that and have after the fact context for the film that I saw. So excellent film, really good. Everybody in it is really good. How do you deal with a guy playing such an iconic, well-known, I was going to say character, which to a degree this is. How do you deal with somebody who doesn't really look like who they're supposed to be playing, being the lead in a film? That was what worried me. That's what always worries me about biopics. I always say I'd rather see a good documentary than a biopic, because the biopics always seem phony, or if it's somebody I know really, really well visually, my brain is not going to accept them as that person. I accepted sorry, not Jeremy Strong, if I've been saying that wrong, Jeremy Allen White as Springsteen. It worked for me. It took me a few minutes, but when he's singing, it sounds just like Springsteen. And he just embodies the character of Bruce Springsteen so well. So yeah, he doesn't look like him. When he's talking, it doesn't really sound like him, but he gets that character across. And that's what my brain clicked into not far into this movie, is that I am not watching Bruce Springsteen in this film. I'm not watching a lookalike. I am watching the character of Bruce Springsteen in this film. and it totally worked, and it totally nails the era, and the music that isn't Springsteen music in this is fabulous. It just nails it, really, really nails it. So Scott Cooper, writer, director, did an excellent job with this. Highly recommend Springsteen, Deliver Me From Nowhere.